Okay, these are my two Jeeps. The one here, the gold one, is an '88 Jeep Cherokee Pioneer, and the red is a '93 Jeep Cherokee Country. Today I did some routine maintenance on them. The gold one struggled to pass the emissions test every year. Although it did pass, it didn't pass with flying colors. And the red one had a bit of a intermittent rough idle. So watching a lot of videos, first I want to give a thank you to a couple of YouTubers. Eric the car guy and Chris Fix are the two main ones that come to mind, and a bunch of other YouTubers who took the time to upload how-to videos and maintaining these old Jeeps. So both of these are mine, and I enjoy working on them and keeping them up. So the first thing I did is I crawled underneath there. I'm a skinny dude, so I didn't have to jack it up or anything. I took off the O2 sensors. It's just one in the front end, and it was easy with the 7/8 wrench. Took it off and sprayed it with carb cleaner and let it dry. While that was drying, I went to both of these Jeeps and took off the map sensor. And you see it's just two screws and bolts holding it up. And first you unplug that green thing, and then that vacuum line there to the left, and it's the exact same thing on this one here. And I took that off, and then they make some spray specifically for these MAP sensors, mass airflow sensor cleaner. And so when you take it off, you want be sure not to spray into the green thing, because they make a special spray for these electrical connectors. But when you take off that map sensor on the corner, it's on each corner, like kind of diagonally, there are these two little holes, and you push the needle up to the hole and you spray it. You should see liquid come out the other hole, and in mine it didn't, so I had to go back and forth. And then finally liquid started coming out each hole as I would spray. I'd put this little needle up to that tiny hole and just one little shot. So apparently this one, well, I guess it was clogged, but yeah, now it's good. So while that dried, I put the O2 sensors back on, came back up, put the map sensors back on, and then my main focus for today was cleaning up the throttle body. And so they're both fairly similar, just little differences here. But we'll start with the '88 and I'll describe to you what I did. So you take off this thing here, just unscrew it here, and there's these like they call them hex or star bolts, but this one I think this one was a 40. So there's 1, 2, there's 3, and that comes off. And then on the throttle body there, I think there were 40. The size of these little bolts is like size 40. And then so there was 4 of them, and then it lifted up, and then you have to unplug these little things here. And then when you're here, and it's real self-explanatory here, I just use a flathead to pop it off. This one I just use my hand. And then here, this right here is called the, I forget what they call that, but yeah, IAC, idle air controller. But these little, you take these two off and be sure to remember which way is up. And so it's good to take pictures before. And so that, I forget what they call that, but I took this off and I sprayed it with throttle body spray, and 1 can was enough to do both. And so I let it dry, and the throttle body, it was black, and when I was done it was silver, nice clean. And so I just used those blue shop towels, paper towels you could buy at the auto parts store. They're very thick and durable. And then I use Q-tips to kind of get inside here to clean it up, and then put everything back together. and not very hard, pretty self-explanatory. And then here on the 93, again, there are just a few little differences. You take this off, you use a flathead to kind of undo this little buckle there, and same thing here, just use like a little flathead, and you just get this out of the way, and then you just disconnect this, and this, it just pops off, and that just pops off with, just use my hand. And then these connectors, see, that's the IAC, idle whatever controller, and I don't know, I forget what they call this, but I unplugged that. And just remember, when you're using that carb spray, don't spray into these, inside these, because there's a separate spray for that. And mine were clean and shiny, so I didn't feel the need to use it. But again, this one, if you looked at Torx right there, there's 1, 2, and there's 2 more on the other side, and that just lifts off. And then from there, you can take this off, and then you can take that off and clean, and you spray in there. And then I use those, as you spray, you use the blue shop towels to wipe it, it loosens it up. And then here again, I use Q-tips to kind of get in there, but ultimately just the pressure from the spray cleans it really well. And so that was what I did. Okay, just a little follow-up here. I took both vehicles out for a test run, and I noticed a big difference in the way they run. And one thing I wanted to add on the O2 sensors, after I cleaned it and before screwing it back in, I used some of this thread sealant, high temperature thread sealant. So again, I noticed an instant difference in the way these vehicles run. So I just want to give a shout out to all the other YouTubers out there who put that info up and allow guys like me to become a shady tree mechanic. Thank you. Also, and whenever you pull off the throttle body, be sure to replace it with a new gasket. They're not very expensive. I bought mine at AutoZone for the 88 Jeep Cherokee. It was $349, and for the 93 Jeep Cherokee it was $399. So again, be sure to put new gaskets whenever you take off the throttle body.